Our cube, admittedly, isn't very cube-like. Some people love the cube and have created their own custom storage for their sets. The cube is one of the many Magic the Gathering formats. In this format, the cube is a simulation of drafting. Drafting is when you open 3 packs with 15 cards each and design a deck with the available cards. The drafting format is used when new sets are introduced to the game. Card shops will create drafting tournaments to boost sales of releasing expansions, and in a fun way. Traditional drafting randomizes cards, but the cube is different because you decide what cards go into the cube. The randomness comes from having multiple sets worth of cards that are dealt randomly. People like cubes because they can make their own themes, but still have the drafting experience. Not everybody plays the cube format the same. I'm going to show you how I've been taught, which will cover the basics. This cube is designed for 8 people when using the whole set. A small selection is used for 2 players. Something that this cube does differently is that it separates special land cards from the basic land cards. They aren't included in the drafting section, but the mana selection. We'll come back to that later. The next section of our cube is the land section. And that's all it is, land enough for all the cards in the deck. The main deck of the cube can be whatever selection of cards you want. The next section of the deck is used for playing with more people or for cycling cards for the 2-player set. There are many ways to deal out the cards to start the draft. We did this by randomly placing the cards in piles of 15 and then giving 3 of these sets to each player. This is a faster way to do it. After you get your cards, separate them into their color sets. Seeing how much of each color can help you decide which ones to use in your draft deck. I usually try to use the colors I have the most of, because there are usually more cards that will work together. MTG Arena Zone has a guide that helps explain drafting and also deck building. Building your deck from a draft can't take too long, especially in tournaments where it's timed. Their guide will help speed up the process so you can keep in mind what and how many types of cards are included in the type of deck you want to create. After your deck is created, separate them out into their color types and their mana cost. Add together the cost of the mana for each cards and their color separately. I have 14 blue mana in my blue cards and 9 white in my white cards. Normally, I divide my total mana cost by 2 and add that many colored mana to my deck. At this point, we would each add a certain number of special lands into our deck of our choice, but this isn't typical style of play for the cube. So for 14 blue mana, I would divide it by 2 and add 7 islands to my deck. But because I have so many double blue mana cards, I'll add an extra 2 islands. After your mana is added, you can start your game. This format is cool because you can add whatever cards you want and create your own draft experience. Different versions and themes keep the format fresh and interesting, even after your 700th game of Magic.